Welcome back to another episode of the Earth Initiation Podcast. This is my first episode that I'm doing video as well. So some people will be listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or there's other podcast platforms it's hosted on, but those are the main two. And now it's going to be on YouTube as well. So if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Emily Sheets. Um, this podcast is called the Earth Initiation Podcast. It is a podcast that is a place where I speak from my soul. I'm mostly channeling messages from my soul. I'm a highly gifted intuitive. I'm also a certified somatic healing practitioner, energy healing practitioner, and I've been studying the art of human transformation for over 17 years now. And this podcast, if you're listening to this on the podcast audio, you've been following along, you know this, but this is just for the YouTube people that are new. You can follow this or subscribe to the podcast. If you prefer the audio version, there is I think there's 14 episodes already. So if this episode resonates with you, go check it out, the other audio only episodes. And I believe from here on out, I'm going to be doing video for all of them, but I can't promise you because a lot of times this podcast is just highly intuitive. It's sometimes I just have to turn on the mic and speak. But what we're really doing is we're trying to open up the heart with this podcast, remember our power. And it is a place to discuss ideas and topics that are coming up in the collective energy or my personal life. I tell a lot of stories about my personal life in this podcast of how I have actually arrived at the wisdom that I teach. And so now I've kind of evolved out of healing and I'm really focused on helping people create a better reality, a better life for themselves. And this episode is going to be diving into some of the best information I have on how to actually create a better life for yourself beyond the buzzwords that most people, you hear online that everybody's talking about manifestation and creating your dream life. This space is different though. This is about creating your life in alignment to your soul's blueprint, and more specifically, your soul's blueprint to prosperity. And everybody has a unique blueprint for prosperity that has to be unlocked one step at a time. You're born with this blueprint, and it's usually not the thing that we are using to operate, on a daily basis, the things that run our thoughts, the things that drive our decision making and our actions, which is going to be what we're talking about today, specifically is decision making and actions as the seed point for everything in your life, but also our emotions. There's so much that is driven by the past, right? So I got into this role as a healer because, like I said, I've been in the art of studying the art of transformation for my own self for a majority of that 17 years. I've been meditating since 2013. I used to have a blog called Real is Cool, where I was sharing stories about what really got me interested in personal growth, personal development, and quote unquote, living your best life, and which is really the art of transformation, right? If you're not living your best life right now, then you are looking to transform into something or someone that can be living their best life. But I started that journey in right out of college because I was struggling with depression. And I have a whole podcast episode about my story in detail, and that is episode 1. And I'll mention that in like the show notes for every episode if I mention a previous episode. But if you really want to hear my story, that's the origin, episode 1, of course. And it's called the Earth Initiation. But you do need to know that I survived a helicopter crash in 2018, and I lost my mother in that accident as well. And so that really set me off on a emotional and physical healing journey that's still unfolding, honestly, to this day. But the more I lean into the tools and the places where my soul has guided me in this healing journey, the more I'm realizing that it's actually not about healing at all. Healing is important for certain phases of our life, but I think a lot of people, and I talk about this on many other episodes as well, get focused on healing themselves. And this brings me to the topic we're going to talk about today, which is lack. Having a focus of needing to heal yourself is, by definition, viewing yourself and your life as needing fixing, as something's broken, something's wrong. The very energy of needing to heal is I am not whole or complete or worthy or fill in the blank, right? You are wanting something out of a healing journey that you believe you do not possess currently in this present moment. But the thing is you do. You just have to align to the version of you that possesses that outcome or the identity that can allow you to experience what it is you are chasing and seeking by healing. So there's a lot of important things that I've learned about healing through my own healing journey and becoming certified as a somatic healing practitioner and an energy healing practitioner. I have thousands of hours put into those types of modalities, helping not only myself, because I use all of my tools on myself because I must pass the test of like, does this fit in my life? Can it apply to my deepest, darkest moments? And if it doesn't, it goes out the window. And and so I don't know, not only do I use it for myself, I've used it with many other people, and this is what has gotten me to this wisdom today, because I'm always looking for a more efficient, more effective way to get from point A to point B, right, without all the messy struggle in the middle. Some of that is necessary for you, but we are living in a time where I think people are just spinning in the stories of the past and the emotions of the past. And the more we focus on the healing and what's not right and all of this stuff, and I love that people are focusing on healing, because obviously not too long ago, people were not concerned with healing or their emotional world whatsoever. So I don't want to discredit that. Like, that's important. And it should never be the sole focus of your life, or you are going to be creating things you need to heal from. And I know this from firsthand example. Okay, but before we go any further into the episodes, this is going to be about lack and scarcity. Whoo, I'm so excited to talk about this topic. I've been having some massive downloads over the last couple of weeks about lack and scarcity and how it might be the root of almost every single dysregulated nervous system state, every single challenge problem that we are facing in humanity today, that it makes us cringe and makes us have heartache and heartbreak, whether that's in your personal life or on the world stage. It's going to be great. Okay, but I can't go any further in the episode without telling you, if this resonates with you and you're like, yes, I am officially launching a 40-day challenge starting on November 15th. So that means it will end on Christmas Eve. It's called Seeds of Gold. And this 40-day challenge is really for the people that are the souls that are calling to a more abundant life, and not abundant in an egotistical way. We'll cover that in a second, where a lot of manifestation goal setting things are coming from ego-based things, not heart-based and not soul-based. But this 40-day challenge is about rewiring your nervous system, because a lot of our decision making is based on how our nervous system is operating. It's very automatic. A lot of our decisions happen instantaneously, right? There are some decisions that we can maybe ruminate or overthink or overanalyze, which is a sign of lack. We'll get into that as well. And the more like each decision you are making is the seed, whatever energy you are like is motivating each decision you make is the seed point of what will bear fruit, what will grow from your soil of life later on. And so this is a challenge for souls that are quite honestly done with the cycles of poverty and lack. And they really want to do something tangible to change the world that can have immediate impacts in your life and will ripple out into the collective. That's how this works. That, you know, for people that are just tired of seeing the chaos, the confusion, the terror, the conflict, the divisiveness of people that have roots in this poverty, lack-based scarcity cycle. A lot of the world's problems are because of this. And so if you're like, I can't, this world is crazy. I can't like bear to see what, you know, what we've all created, because we have all created this. And I have, if it that kind of like pings you and you get a little bit triggered around like everything you don't like about the world is a creation of all of ours. And if there's something you don't like about in the world, you definitely hold it within yourself. And this is kind of like the core of my work. But there are so many things that you can do about what is happening on the world stage, and it starts within. So this 40-day challenge is going to focus on decision making, and it's going to focus on illuminating the areas where you are still making unconscious decisions based out of lack, and you are in your own life perpetuating cycles of poverty by continuously planting those seeds of lack and scarcity. Even if you are making decisions of like, you know, it can look very healthy on the surface or like you're being generous, but if it's motivated by lack on the inside, you are still planting that seed no matter what kind of action you're taking in the world. And that's why we have so many you know, we have so many awake people, loving people, people that are trying to do the right thing, the good thing, and things are still not shifting, right? We're still stuck in these patterns. And it's because the decision making, it's a lot, there's a lot of things to it. But one thing I want to focus on for the remainder of the year is the decision making behind that. The decision, the seeds you are planting in every single moment. And so I started out saying, if you're triggered by this idea that you need to be responsible for the collective creation that we have here, there's an episode for you. It's episode, I think it's 4. Yeah. Victim, villain, savior. Because that's going to talk, it's going to speak to that, the idea of, you know, some people can get into like, oh, you're blaming victims and, you know, like when we ask people to take responsibility for what they're creating, even if it's something really terrible and horrible, and own their part in there, people can have interesting reactions to that. So if you're triggered, that's a great place to start. And the trigger doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you, right? That's my whole thing. Triggers are portals to power. Your triggers are your map to your soul's blueprint. And so a lot of the things I do, and what we're going to also be doing in this challenge, is I'm going to be giving daily intuitive guidance. And we're going to be doing at least 4 group calls around specific areas of prosperity. So we're really rewiring your nervous system to stop making decisions out of lack and scarcity. So we have to bring attention, and we have to be honest where we're still doing that. So a part of this is going to be uncovering those hidden ways we're making decisions, and then we're going to reorient them. And I'm going to teach you how to align those decisions with your soul's prosperity blueprint. So this is the Seeds of Gold challenge is about aligning your decisions with your soul's prosperity blueprint. And we're going to focus within 4 areas of prosperity, which is so much better than wealth, because wealth is really just about money. We are going to have a week that is about finances and resources and money, of course, but prosperity is the whole picture. Prosperity is a heart-based energy. It can't come from the mind. It has to come from the heart, and it has to come from soul. That's what prosperity is. And it's prosperity not just for you, it includes you and it includes other people. That's what prosperity is. So we're going to be diving into all the little hidden ways where we're not making decisions in alignment with our soul's prosperity blueprint. In money, wealth, of course, but relationships and love. Oh my gosh, that's such a good one. Health, like especially physical health. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe the things that sometimes, I mean, I'm speaking from experience because I've done all of this stuff. And then finally, probably the ones that I'm most excited for is your joy, your happiness, your fun. Like, what are you doing for fun and how are you making those decisions in your life? Okay. So, Seeds of Gold is live now. If you want more details on it, we're building a giant field of prosperity. So I have the pricing structured in a way that if you invite friends, you don't have to pay as much. And we build this field of prosperity that we're all going to just bathe in. And there are going to be challenging moments, but I'm here with all of my expertise from over 17 years doing transformational work for myself, for other people, and using my power of my intuitive guidance, my gifts. Those are my gifts to be able to help you move from those places that are keeping you planting seeds of lack, scarcity, doubt, etc., and moving in alignment with soul blueprint for prosperity. But yeah, the more the merrier, the bigger field we get, we can really create and weave this future of prosperity together. So it's like the field of prosperity will amplify. So not only will we be navigating challenges and things that are coming up together, but we're going to be weaving this pure energy of prosperity that by the end of the challenge, you're going to feel that more than you ever have before. You're going to be living it more than you ever have before. And you're going to know how to move forward, making more decisions to just keep bringing more of that energy in for you and the collective. It's going to be amazing. So if this is interesting you, the link is in the show notes or the caption on YouTube. I don't know what you call it. Okay. Let's take a break. Little breather here. I'm gonna take a drink of water because I like that could just be the episode of just talking about this offer. But I have so much more that I want to say. Okay, so let me have water. Haha, yes. The season of lack is upon us. So there's so much you need to know right now, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm really talking, this challenge really is for people that are in the Northern Hemisphere. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I love you. You can still participate in this challenge. It's going to have a different effect energetically. You'll still be able to move to your soul blueprint for prosperity, aligned to that more. And this challenge is really designed for the season of end of fall, moving into winter. There is no mistake that this challenge is starting on November 15th and ending on Christmas Eve, a little bit after the darkest day of the year. Because darkness is where your seeds get planted, right? When we look at nature, there's so many things get projected onto the idea of darkness. And I have a whole podcast episode that is forthcoming on that. I haven't posted it. I'll probably post it maybe the following week. I'm like, I haven't listened to that one. I'm like, I don't even know what I said on that. But I did do a whole episode about darkness, and that's not what this is going to be about. But just know that everything I'm doing with this challenge is very intentionally designed to make the most of the energetics of what's happening right now. And when we are entering into the season of less light in the Northern Hemisphere, it is a time where a lot of people struggle with their mood. There's seasonal depression, or mood imbalances that a lot of people deal with. People are just a lot of times they're they're busy, maybe not in a good way, maybe in a good way. There's a lot of focus on consumer spending, right? And this is actually what solidified for me that I'm like, I'm doing this fucking challenge because it's not even Halloween when I'm recording this on October 30th, actually. And I've been seeing like Christmas commercials on TV for at least a week and a half. And you can love Christmas, or hate it, and you can be any religion, but I just think this is um it's not a good thing that we're trying to just pull, like, it's a very the way the holiday season, especially in the United States, has evolved, and this season of darkness that is supposed to be reserved for a lot of introspection and connecting deeply to oneself, and yeah, planting seeds. This is when the ground, I mean, so there's, I think a lot of people would say energetically the ground is most fertile in spring, and it's like, no, but it has to have that dormancy for the seed to just like sit in and marinate in. And going back to my episode on darkness, like darkness is the field of infinite possibilities. And so when we have dark energy, it is not evil, bad, or wrong. It's like looking at the night sky where the stars shine. So, again, that's my darkness episode. But this is the time of year that is ripe for you to connect with infinite possibilities, creativity, like pulling your soul's prosperity blueprint, threading it through to your current reality. The veil is thin around Halloween, like, but I honestly think that when you are experiencing less sunlight, it is a time for you to be wildly creative and inspired on the inside, right? We don't necessarily have all the energy to go out and do those things or create those things. That comes later as the sun comes back to the northern hemisphere around spring. But this is where, like, forget New Year's resolutions. Like, this is this time right now, your decisions that you're making right now and the energy that drives those is what you're going to experience in 2026, period. And you're going to experience it at its height next summer. So, yeah, lack, scarcity. I was just like, wow, they're just I feel like every year the commercials are getting, like, the seasons are bleeding together and they're just trying to extract more money from you. So we also, the part of the reason why I wanted to do this challenge too is because in the Northern Hemisphere, in North America, in the United States, we have Black Friday sales, which is a huge extraction of wealth and money from people. And this is a core, I guess, example of how we can have lack-based decisions driving us, and we're not even aware of it. Some of you might be, some of you might not be, but when we are buying things because they are on sale, you are most likely buying that out of a lack-based state, unless you're very intentional with it. Even if it's like, I would have bought this anyways, I was already like, I wanted to buy this, and now it's on sale, so I even have a better reason to do it. You have to really be intentional with looking at that, because first of all, most people are purchasing because they're like, you're affirming I don't have enough money, I have to buy this on sale. And believe me, the irony is not lost on me that I am going to throw my hat into the mix and ask you for an energy exchange, an investment. That's why I'm trying to create is an invest. We're investing money into the future especially our 2026 future, through this challenge, which is completely different than extracting wealth so you can have a temporary feeling, a temporary solution, right? Most things that we're buying, um, especially around the holidays, are things that we actually don't need, or maybe we do need them, but we're buying things for emotional reasons. It's going to give you some sort of feeling on the inside. And so, what feeling you're going to get out of that? A lot of times, marketing in general is designed to make you feel like you are lacking something in your life, and that's why you need this solution right here. And I'm here to tell you that if you are lacking something in your life, it's because of two reasons, and one of two reasons only. One, you are not meant to have that because it's not aligned with your soul's blueprint. So that's where I differ. I like to say that I teach the art of creation, which is completely different than manifestation. Manifestation is like you can pick any dream you want out there and you can make it happen. No. I actually don't believe that, and I'm not trying to squash anybody's dreams. It is about soul alignment. Like if I decided tomorrow that I wanted to play professional basketball, and I talked about this in my I think it's episode 13, The Heartbeat of Life. I think it's episode 13. Yeah. If I wanted to play basketball professionally in the NBA tomorrow, guess what? That would not happen for me because that is not soul aligned. Like I just know it's not soul aligned for me. And that's not to say that the things that you desire, like if you desire something and it's actually not soul aligned for you to get it, and if you still take steps after that, you are going to get some result or outcome out of that that's going to direct you to something even grander or better. So it's not like if like I have had this dream forever and right now you're telling me it might not be soul aligned. Well, the only way you are going to find out, first of all, is to get really clear about the energy you're putting into that, right? So the decision making behind it, and then take steps towards it. And then the path will become clearer each step that you take. And especially, oh, I did want to mention this too. We operate here talking about holographic principles all the time. And so I also have episode 2, which is on holographic principles. Essentially, your reality is a mirror of what you hold on the inside, which goes back to that idea of like, if you don't like fucking poverty, cycles on earth, and all the different ways that that impacts humanity, then looking at your own poverty belief systems and the way you make decisions out of a place of poverty is extremely important. Um, so holographic principles dictate like when you take an action towards something, you will either get one of two things. You will get that thing, or you will be presented with a challenge, a setback, emotions that are there to become your map to the blueprint that your soul is trying to guide you to, right? And we have free will choice, and we can continue to choose the path that is not soul aligned. And you're going to be really fucking frustrated. You're going to be spinning in stories of like, this doesn't work. Why does nothing work for me? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So your emotions and your challenges are there to help reveal the clarity of the next step of where you're meant to go. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the path you're on is wrong. It might mean that you need to refine your decision making, a way that you're thinking about it, the way you are projecting into the future of how that thing can come to you. There's a lot of different variables. So, like I said, you start taking action, it's one of two things. You're either gonna get the thing or you're gonna be met with something. And that will tell you your next step. Okay. I want to just pause because I feel like I just dropped a lot of information. And I like to just let the field settle for a second. I do this in a lot of my episodes. Like, check in with yourself. How's this conversation making you feel? What's going on with your nervous system? Are you stressed? Are you overwhelmed? Are you panicking because you've been making lack-based decisions? Are you overthinking of like, oh my God, how many lack-based decisions have I been making? All that's welcome. This podcast is meant to be holographic in nature as well. to show you, like, this conversation, even if you do not join the challenge, is going to show you some keys to your soul's blueprint for prosperity, because we're talking about lack. So what's triggering you is for you. It's a map for you. And that's why I can sit here and be like, I can claim my gifts, that I'm really damn good intuitive. I can read energy like nobody's fucking business. I am an amazing channeler. Maybe have one of the clearest channels on the world, which my ego, by the way, is like, don't say that. But this is my soul speaking. It's like, and we can't get to our place where we want to create without being able to claim it either. So let's just feel the emotions, feel what's going on. There was something else I wanted to say about all of that, but it'll come back to me, because right now I'm just being guided to talk about another way that so many loving, amazing people out there are making decisions out of lack, and that is not claiming their gifts. And I'm looking at you. If this is you, or I'm speaking to you, you're out there comparing yourself, and you're scrolling Instagram, and you're like, someone else is already doing what I'm doing, or they're doing it better, or like, even like, Emily's so fucking good at this. Like, why I can't do anything? Stop. That's lack-based thinking. Lack-based thinking. Poverty-based thinking. Every single person has a gift on this planet. It may not be the same as mine, and that's fucking awesome. Because if there was just like a million people with the same gift, then we'd all we'd all be having a hard time if everybody's gift was just, I can channel things like crazy, and I can spot patterns like crazy, and these are my gifts, and I can guide people through transformation. All right, well, there's a lot of other things that we need to do on this planet, y'all. you know, there's so much we need to do, and everybody has a piece in that. And even if your gifts look like mine, there's a way that you're expressing it. I guarantee when you're connected to your soul's blueprint of prosperity, like, you're going to express it in a completely different way, and it's going to be needed. It is so needed, right? So, lack, comparison, like that, thinking I'm not good enough, or feeling like if I show up in my brightest self, if I claim my gifts, and if I take up that space, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. Somebody's going to be triggered or upset. All lack-based thinking. They're dimming, suppressing your own self, because you're afraid of somebody's going to be triggered or maybe upset or leave you. Like, trust me, there's still times where I'm like, my ego's like, don't talk about how psychic you are. Don't talk about how intuitive you are. Don't talk about how you channel everything. Like, there are people going to be like, Emily's a fucking weirdo. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I am weird, whatever. But um this is just the journey of connecting with that soul blueprint to prosperity. Is there are going to be moments where you're going to be challenged like that. And if you say, no, I'm not going to show up, you're saying that those people that don't get you, they don't understand you, they maybe will judge you or whatever, project something onto you because of you shining. That's a lack-based thing, because then when you place importance of how someone views you or what someone thinks about you over your own gifts, talents, abilities, the things that your soul came here to do, express, experience in the world, you're saying that you don't trust that there is going to be other people that will resonate with it, right? So it's in a way of relationship lack, where it's like, well, often it's like, I need this person in my life. I need these people to like me, because if I don't, then I'm going to be alone, or I'm not going to be happy, or I don't know, like, fill in the blank. If you dig deep down enough into the relational aspects of like why you're doing that, it's a lack-based fear. Because if you trust it in abundance, it's like, okay, No big deal. This isn't for everybody. Some people are going to judge me. Some people are going to think I'm fucking batshit crazy. And there are also people that are going to be like, damn, this is what I needed to hear today. Thank God I pushed play on this podcast episode because now I'm going to do this amazing challenge called Seeds of Gold and it's going to change my life. Right. Um, but that's the difference. Yeah, it's you trust in the abundance because it's like, well, there are many people that can meet me where I'm at. And when you say it can only be these people, and if these people don't like me, then fuck, that's really heavy. I'm gonna pause and like let that percolate. Because that actually the relationship, like there's only one call that we're gonna be doing on black-based relationships. I mean, even your relationship to money is a relationship. So we could probably say the whole challenge is about relationship. The holographic principles are showing you how you're relating to things, right? And so your triggers are showing you how you relate to things. And so I get this is, I think, what I was trying to say that I got sidetracked on when I first started speaking was that so many people are spinning in this question of like, am I on the right path? Is this right for me? Because you could even say that even like the doubting, the questioning is a lack based energy because abundance and trust in that says it doesn't matter, honestly, because I'm going to get where I need to go because I know how to meet the challenges and the emotions that come up through my decision making, through anything that comes up, which is what I teach in a lot of my containers. And so I know how to, I'll eventually navigate myself back to the path. And if I went off the path, it was because I needed to. So, that's what it was. I started saying how a lot of people set goals and their manifestations from their ego's mind of like, I want to manifest $1 million. Well, that may or may not be part of your soul's blueprint for prosperity. It may not. Not everybody's here to be, I think, billionaires. But everybody has a blueprint for prosperity that is abundant in resources. And resources can come in many forms beyond money. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up and the ego mind just blocks them because there are tons of other ways that resources come to us through other people. And I'm not going to get into that because I think is something we're going to go more in depth into the challenge of like really appreciating and opening up space for all the different ways that resources can flow to us, money and non-money. Because where we're headed, folks, it's a very like wild, wild west terrain when it comes to the financial world. Even me, like, I don't know, even though I can tap in and see a lot of the future that we're creating together. I don't know for sure what's going to happen in the financial world. Are we going to still be using the dollar to buy things in 20 years? Probably not. Probably not how it looks right now, but I mean, we don't know. Is crypto going to be the thing? Is it going to be one crypto over another? Like, we're trying to predict things and it's like, well, honestly, my soul is like, Emily, just focus on fucking connecting to your soul's blueprint for prosperity. And it won't matter. It won't matter if the financial world collapses because I will know what I need to do to get resources to not just survive, but thrive in prosperity, even if the dollar tanks and becomes worthless, right? So I'm not going to go too much more into that, but if you're like one of those people that have been worried about the financial future, which trust me, I've been there, and I've even tried to get answers from my beautiful soul and my like using my channeling abilities to be like, okay, well, should I invest in land? Like, what should I be investing in? La, 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 la. And I actually haven't been able to see exactly what's going to happen because actually nobody does because it's really complex how timelines come to be. The only predictors of like what are you going to experience within the greater collective experience is your decision making right now. So that's another reason why it's so important. But my soul is like, it doesn't matter. Like, you anchor the energy of abundance that your soul's blueprint is designed for you to carry, then it won't matter. You will always find the people, the places, the resources you need. It my soul's like, you guys could be trading rocks in the future and that's your form of currency and it won't fucking matter. You will be prosperous and you will have like not just enough but more than enough. Prosperity is more than enough for everybody, and I do believe in that vision. I don't know how exactly we're going to get there, but I know it takes every single one of us stepping into our blueprint of prosperity, because we each have a key. Like, you could be holding the next amazing breakthrough for how we're going to tackle pollution, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, you could have the next breakthrough in healthcare. You could have the next breakthrough in mothering your child and like creating the next generation of amazing, prosperous kids. There's so many places where we need this kind of energy. So, okay, where do I want to go from here? I think I've given you a really good idea of the flavors of lack-based thinking. And I think I've given you a little taste of like, oh, wow, okay, this does go deeper. So I think a lot of people, especially if you're listening to this, you're probably highly self-aware. You're probably already on some sort of like, or interested in some sort of healing or growth path. You've already been looking at your life and trying to be a better person and wanting to be a good person. Um, which by the way can also be very lack based, but that's too deep. We'll go into that in the challenge. It's not about not being a loving person. Being a good person, a loving person are different things, folks. um I'm like, now I lost my train of thought, but we've given you that flavor of like, oh, um I can see maybe how I'm making decisions in lack. And so that this is also not a challenge for people that aren't willing to go there and be honest with themselves about how they're contributing to the poverty cycles on earth. Even me, I'm doing this challenge for me too, because I'm not going to sit up here and be like, I got it all figured out and I make all my decisions perfectly. Hell no. I'm human. And, my soul is always telling me that perfection, like the pressure of perfection. So, this is the other thing I want to talk about with the challenge. If you're interested, I think at this point, if you're listening to this conversation, something somewhere is stirring within you, and maybe this is for you. And that's only for you to decide, right? So this decision, it starts now. Like, not lack, not like, we're like, what feels most expansive, what feels most abundant for you, what feels like truth to you. And so this is not a challenge for people that aren't willing to meet their truth around what's holding them back from their soul's blueprint, because that's the only way we're going to get there. And some of that truth does not fucking feel good. So yeah, I'm human. I'm on this journey with you guys. Oh, and that's a perfectionism, by the way, which is a fucking huge lack based belief system. Whew. And it's one that I've struggled with immensely, because I am very coded for mastery. And so a lot of the concepts and the things that I can deliver and talk about are because of my mastery coding. Like, I literally can, I see patterns, and I study things that I'm interested in, and then I end up evolving them into something that's more effective. Because I have this like innate mechanism, like I know how to make this better, I know how to improve this, and it can turn on me in a dime where I go perfectionist. And so this is not about making perfect decisions. We only just need to do a little bit better to create a little bit better outcome. And if a whole host of us are creating even just like 1% better outcomes, 1% better, can you imagine that shift on a collective basis? But the more you get introspective about it, But the thing is you can't even be introspective from a lack. Like, I'm afraid to make lack-based decisions. No, you have to trust in the process. It has to come from loving pure heart, right? And so that's where it can get very convoluted and complex. And I'm walking this path with you, but I also know a lot about, because I've been doing this for a while now. And I know how to guide people through this. So we don't need to be perfect about it, but it is about refining the way we're making our decision making and connecting to that soul blueprint for prosperity and making better decisions in that area where possible. Sometimes the emotions are going to be too overwhelming. And for some of you, you'll know, like, you're like, oh yeah, I know that decision I've been like mulling over in my head for a long time, or there's a handful of decisions I've been like questioning and circling for a long time. And I don't know. And the reason why you don't know is because the emotions are too much. And that can't be necessarily bulldozed through. It can't. You can try to, but that's not going to get what you want on the end. At the end, we have to be loving with our timing of things. So, full transparency, I'm not promising any type of shift at all for you. I think just being in the field that we're creating is going to help you and shift you, and even making just one decision over the 40 days differently will have an impact in your life. The more you can do that, the more you will see differences in your life. But everybody's on their own journey and on their own path. So some people might come into this challenge and just their life is going to fucking 180 flip into something crazy good. And for some people, it's going to be more incremental. And that's because that's what you need right now. And because there's probably more emotional work, but I'm going to give you some tools to work through those emotions. I'm going to give everybody that's joining the challenge access to the foundation, which is my core offer, where all of my daily practices and daily meditative practices live, and all my trigger alchemy journeys live, that really help you build that emotional intelligence. They help you build a good relationship with your nervous system. So there's going to be tons of support. What else do I want to say? Mm, yeah, this decision, it can't be a marketing thing. It can't. You either are pulled towards it or you're not. And I trust that. You should trust that. And I love to see you there if it is pulling to you. Make that decision. My invitation is to make that decision out of love for yourself, out of investing into your future, rather than, because you could even be like, well, yeah, I'm lacking prosperity right now. And so I need this. Okay. No, we rewire that instantly right now. You can still need this. You can honor the part of you that is, yeah, I need more prosperity in my life, right? I know I have, like, I'm not feeling very prosperous in my relationships, or I'm not feeling prosperous when it comes to my health, or I'm not feeling prosperous when it comes to my joy and my expression in the world and having fun. You will probably know those areas where, like, I'm even money, right? We know those areas. And the invitation is to only join with the intention to invest and connect with the part of you that is already prosperous, inviting that to come through, not out of lack of what is existing now, but of possibilities for the future. It's just so exciting to me. And I hope to see you there. And that's the end of the episode. Bye.